All right. What's up, Squid Light? Today here again, we are back with another Endzone video. Last time we went over the midfield set. Today's going to be the sideline set. Uh, so a lot of the concepts between the midfield and sideline endzone sets are very, very similar. So if you haven't already, I recommend you go watch the midfield end zone set first because a lot of those concepts are going to apply here. But there are a decent number of variations between midfield and sideline, hence the separate video. So let's just get into it. First, we're going to look at our initial setup here. This is where we're going to see a lot of our differences from the midfield set. First and most obvious thing, the disc is on the sideline here instead of in the middle of the field. We're just going to default to forcing flick here. Again, blue is offense and red is defense, and this little blue circle is the disc. And our dump now is actually positive of the handler with the disc. Remember, in the midfield, they stood 45 degrees behind them on the open side. Now we're standing, you know, maybe 15 to 30 degrees positive of them on the break side. And we'll see why very shortly. And then finally, let's look at the stack. The structure is very similar again, where we give the front cutter, the active cutter, some extra space by pushing the other four people backwards. But now we're just angled a little bit to the break side. And this is because we want to give our handlers who are going to be cutting up line into the open side, just give them enough space to get open and catch it without somebody running up behind them from the defense and trying to poach it and potentially causing a dangerous play. So that's why we're going to be angling away from the sideline where the disc is situated. And that's our general structure here. So now let's talk about the first look from our base position. In the midfield set, the first look was the front cutter of the stack. That is no longer the case. The first look is actually the dump. Now, that might not make sense because everything we've taught you so far is that the dump is our last resort to, reset the stall or something like that. But in this scenario, they're actually the first look. So, as the dump, there's a couple important things to keep in mind. The first is that you are not deciding where to cut. The handler with the disc is going to make that decision for you. And that's going to be in the form of two options. Once again, this common theme of two options here. The first option is that the handler will throw in a round break and swing it to the opposite side of the field. In this case, it's very obvious what you should do. You should just go run and catch it, right? That is our first option from this position. The handler will just immediately throw in a round break, swing, and the dump will just go and run onto the disc and catch it. And then hopefully you should know from the last video, if you throw it to the break side, we are going to continue throwing to the break side. So second look, front of the stack is going to cut to the break side and try to receive this continuation. And again, we're going to keep doing that until we score. Oh, I went too far there. Dump runs onto the disc. We continue. But now, what if we fake off the break continuation? Well, this is going to be pretty much the exact same thing as in the middle end zone set, and that is going to be the throw and go. So This person with the disc who just received this break side swing will notice, okay, maybe this defender has capped too far. This throw is no longer possible. I'm going to fake off the guy who just ran this continuation cut. He's going to clear to the back of the stack. And meanwhile, our handler on the other side of the field, who is not clearing, because remember, if you throw it to the break side, you're going to stay in the backfield. You need to be present in the backfield to receive this next throw. So this next throw is going to be an open side swing back to the handler who just threw it to the break side. They're pushing positive, so they're creating space to come back and receive this open side swing. And that's going to look like this. So this is the throw. And now let's take a look at the positioning of our defender on this handler who just threw it back to the open side. This defender has to sell out very hard on this break side cap in order to prevent this goal from coming off. Like he's going to run as fast as he can to go and cap the break side so that this continuation throw to the break side corner does not go off because obviously we're going to score off of that. So he's running very, very fast this way and will end up pretty far away from the handler here on the wrong side, right? So now when he swings it over to the open side, he is just automatically losing, right? Because the next look here is to run up line. And look how far away the defender is. He's completely on the wrong side. He's probably still running in the break side direction trying to cap by the time you're running up line. And this is a great way to score. Uh, as a handler, I have scored so many goals off of this throw and go up line simply because my defender has to sell out extremely hard to cap to the point where if I throw it back and run up line, they're just immediately torched because they're so far away. So this is a very important part of our end zone. This throw and go is absolutely essential. And there's a couple things you can do to make this more successful. The first thing is when you're faking off this cutter who just cut for a break continuation, you should do that very, very quickly. I was talking to, I believe, New Cream about this maybe a couple weeks ago. But when I catch this break, this around break initially, I can tell simply by looking upfield for maybe a quarter of a second whether I want to throw this continuation break or not. And there's a couple things to look for here. First is the positioning of your defender. If, by the time you turn around, they're already back in a proper mark position, the break is going to be pretty difficult. So you can see here, this defender did a great job of capping by running a bit positive and taking away this continuation throw. In that case, I'm probably not going to throw it. So I would just immediately fake it and throw it back to my other handler. Another thing to look for is how early is this continuation with their cut. If I catch it here and I'm looking upfield and this guy is already right here, there's no space over here for me to throw this continuation. He's way too early. So if you're this continuation from the front of the stack after we throw a break, it's very important that you do not cut too early. A lot of people, they get excited or something like, oh, we're going to score. I need to cut right now. like when the disc is still in the middle of its flight path all the way across the field. If you cut that early, by the time this person catches it, sets their feet, and turns around, you're already going to be really close to the sideline. And there is just no space to make this throw, right? Because we have to lead you out into it so your defender can't catch up, but there is no lateral space to work with here. So that's no good. You're probably going to want to wait until this person actually has their hands on the disc before even starting your cut. If you want to be a little bit productive while you're waiting for this swing to be caught, one thing you can do is kind of push your defender to the open side. If you start, edging this way, walking over here to the open side, they still have to respect this because they're taking away the open side. But when the swing is caught, now you've created yourself a lot more space on the break side to cut over here and receive the disc. So that's something you can do as this continuation cutter to give yourself a higher probability of not only getting open, but also cutting on time. Uh, we'd much prefer you to cut a little bit too late than too early. Because if you cut too early, it's not going to happen. If you cut a little bit too late, there's still a possibility of getting that throw off. So that's pretty much it for this continuation break. We got back to here where this throw gets faked off, and now we throw the upline swing, and then we run upline to hopefully score. And that is the throw and go. That is no different from the middle field set. It's exactly the same thing. Scenario 2, from our starting default position with the disc on the sideline, say it's a dead disc, it happens to be right here, pick it up. The second option with our first look at this dump is to fake them and send them up line. So as this handler, I'm going to immediately throw a fake around. And the goal here is to try to get this defender to jump this break around. And once he does that, now he's heading in the wrong direction. We are communicating to our dump that they want to go up line, and now they should be able to win this foot race 100% of the time and catch an easy up line on the open side for a score. Again, as one important tip for this handler, you want to make this fake extremely obvious to the dump. The dump is not supposed to move until you activate them with either a throw to the break side or a fake. So if you're not throwing it to the break side and you know that, your fake needs to be extremely visible to the dump so they know that they have to go up line. If you just stare at them and you don't throw a fake, you don't throw it to the break side, they're just going to stand there and stare straight back at you because you haven't activated them. So if you're throwing a fake and you want them to go up line, make it a big, like egregious fake. I really don't even care if you're getting this defender to bite or not. Your fake might look stupid. He might know that's the most obvious fake of all time. I don't even care. The point of the fake is only to communicate to your dump that you want them to go up line. There's really no other reason for it. This little jump on the break side throw is just icing on the cake. If you can get that to work, that's great. But really, we're just using this fake as a communication tool to the dump. So make it obvious. I cannot stress that enough. I saw this a lot in practice where people were kind of getting confused, like, oh, I threw this tiny little fake. Why is he not going up line? Well, this defender is standing in the way. This defender might also be standing in the way. So if you don't make it a nice big fake, they might not even see it. So make it big, make it obvious. I don't care if you look goofy doing it. You just need to tell your dump to go up line. So they go up line, they catch it, it's a goal. Awesome. The next scenario is we send them up line, but they're not open. So we're going to fake them off. They're going to clear to the back of the stack. Nothing unusual there. And we're going to run the fill cut. The fill cut looks slightly different just because the disc is on the sideline, but the overall shape of the cut is the same. You, as the front of the stack, when this guy is all alone in the backfield, you're going to cut straight at your handler and cut laterally to the break side. And that's going to look like this. So you cut straight at them, cut across the field to the break side, and we're going to get this swing off to get a reset. And then you should know, throw it, break, continue, break, blah, blah, blah. But what if we fake him? Maybe this defender is super around and not letting the around break go off. If we fake him, he's just going to go up line. So he initiates his cut towards the defender. He gets faked. He's just going to switch directions and go up line. And we can do that in theory infinitely. You know, if this fill cut gets faked and sent up line and gets faked again, now we just send in another fill cut to do the same thing. Maybe we won't fake him and he'll go around this time and catch it. But, you know, until a fill actually catches the disc and gets the stall reset, we're going to keep running fill cuts until someone catches it. But that's pretty much it. There's only a few nuances between the midfield and the sideline set. I just wanted to make another video because the other one was pretty long. And now so is this one. So we're going to stop it here. Again, if you have any questions about this, leave a comment or put a message in the Slack so everyone can see it. And that's pretty much it. Next video is probably going to be host stack because we're going to start moving away from vert stack and get into host stack, which is the main Squid LITE offense. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys at practice. Peace.